What we're going to do is going to welcome up Dad first. Stephen's dad. Met his wife in the IT space at HP. That love story blossomed at work. There's a theme, remember, right? Bush mechanic. He does also love a thing for trains and stuff, right? He's like, yeah, I know, you've done the rap sheet. We're going to be welcoming up father of the groom. We're pleased to welcome up John!
Oh, right. I'm one of those dads. That's right. The one that starts first. Except I just forgot my speech. But anyway, two parts. First part, talk about the lovely couple. And the second part, talk about all you guys, right? So, first one. I am gaining a most gorgeous daughter, huh? Did you see her up at church today? I could tell by her voice, she is a confident talker. She is going places. Stephen, lift your game, right? Now, just a few words. When I look at these two over the past year, two or so, I can see, besides their eyes glistening when they look at each other, when that happened, I told Carol, this is it. This is it. But the two of you do match each other. You've got this, well, more than just Stephen and Stephanie rhyming. There's a bit more to it than that. You're in sync with each other. And one of the key things of a couple I find is when one has a weakness, the other has a strength. And when they're working together, it balances out absolutely beautiful. And I see that in you guys, yeah? I look at you and I think, well, one's ruled by the head, the other one's ruled by the heart, yeah? You guys can work that one out, right? The other bit I've noticed is one of you guys, if there's a conflict or a fight, they just run straight into it. But the other one comes in and mediates. I mean, that's a great blend between the two, particularly if you listen to each other in the first place. And there's another one which just makes a decision and just wants to run off and do it. Whereas the other one says, let's think about the options. Let's collaborate, let's ask other people. So having those two strengths back and forth, I think you guys are going to go places, yeah? And overall, oh, thank you. And overall, I think, guys, I'm absolutely confident you're going to have a long, loving, and most prosperous life together. And prosperous, by the way, doesn't just mean money. It's achieving things, going places. And you guys put your heads together. I'm sure you're going to go there. Okay, now on to you guys, right? There are a lot of you here today. And when I went through the list to count people, I came up with a number around 320, 330, I don't know, went up and down in the first place. But the bit that stuck out the most is the number of people who have come from interstate or overseas. It's like a first. I think it should be in the Guinness Book of Record, but there's 70 of you guys that have actually traveled from somewhere else to come here. And Carol and I just find that an absolute honor to have so many people go out of the way to come to this wedding. And if I take that, mathematically, just a quick calculation, multiplied by the kilometers, it's 650 kilometers on average. Each one of you guys have traveled today. That is amazing. And for you greenies, I'm sorry that it's impacted our mission trading. But at the end of the day, if you look at those 70, we have 23 from overseas, and we have 47 from interstate. So if you think I'm going to sit here and name every one of you guys, you can just forget it. But I'll give you a few of the locations. So we have a heap of Americans. Yes, they were able to get outside of their border. And we have, let's see, we have a small Midwestern town that someone's come from, and it's called Chicago. There we go. Hey. And then we got another land. This is the land of movie stars and military weapon. We've got Los Angeles. Oh. And then, most important, what has saved our economy, both America and the world, is the land of silicon. And that's, we got San Jose. Obviously, I need to include the people from San Francisco, but that, all I can think about you guys, there's a lot of earthquakes going on there. So glad you got out of there. Now, it's not just that. We've also got Philadelphia, right? Philadelphia, the land of liberty and the land of the first American locomotive, which is very important. But I know I'm running out of time. Just got to go through these countries. It's not just you Americans. There are actually some people, and I hope I'm not stealing your thunder there, Ben. But there's people from Mexico. Yes, they have no borders. We've got Colombia, we got Taiwan, and of course, Poland. Yeah. Oh. And in the States, I think we've got all the states. We've got Queensland, we got Victoria, Western Australia, and Canberra. Right here. So that's a first in my mind. But there's another first which I need to quickly go through. 40% of this group is another first. And I feel like I need to name them because my wife is one of them. And they are the first civilization. Now, yeah. Kayat Atarai. Yeah, Kayat. Now, no, it's not you Greeks. Forget about it. It's Assyrians. Yeah. Now, Assyrians come with different names, by the way. There's Sumerians, there's Chaldeans. Oh, we'll throw in, some of those Armenians as well. Now, just before I finish, because I've exceeded my 2 minutes, there's 3 important things about Assyrian you guys got to know, and I'm not talking about dancing. 3 things that they have invented. The first one, they're very proud about this, is the wheel. Now, okay, what about the wheel? Well, you guys try to travel 650 kilometers without a wheel, you'd be in deep trouble. The second thing they invented, and I know you guys are going to love this. This is a fact, and it isn't the Italians. They invented alcohol. Now, how's that, huh? Alcohol. And the third thing they invented, which is about 5 minutes after alcohol, was partying. So, guys, how good is that? Tonight, you've got 3 things: transportation to get here and ability to party. So, best wishes. Once again, thank you for coming.
So, if you wanted dinner and a show, that was John. Dinner and a show, yeah? We went through the Bureau of Statistics, geopolitics. Stephen's like going, I don't remember this being on the cards, but I think he did well. Dad is charismatic, yeah? He talks well. He's got swagger. And now, we have Vin. All right? Father of the bride. Can we give him some love? Come over here, you.
What a night! Whoa! Well, guys, as you heard from John, Lots of interstate and intercontinental journeys were taken here. So one more time, welcome to all of you guys. It's fantastic you're here. Obviously, John and Carol worked really, really hard to make this night a success. I can see how much work must have put into this, because it's just fantastic. So, well, thank you very much, guys. Well, a few words about my daughter. Maybe I start with that. Look, before Stephanie was born, we already had 4 kids. All of them boys. They all here. Funny enough, my wife wanted a girl from the very first baby. So we tried again and again and again and again, and finally she was pregnant with a baby girl. Wow, I'm so excited. I'm gonna have a beautiful baby girl. But as it turned out to be, her joy and excitement turned into a little bit of a despair, as Stephanie was far from the attractive baby. So, what happened? All my boys, 4 of them all together, they were all so good looking and pretty when they were young, and my old weighted girl is so unattractive. She cried. Well, likely it is a long forgotten memory. As you can see, she is just absolutely gorgeous. Wow, I can barely recognize you today myself. To top it up, she is intelligent, hardworking, inventive, independent, and adventurous. Not a bad combination. Stephen, would you say?
Very scary.
Well, but also what defines a character to a large extent is a love for animals. Whether they fly, crawl, jump, swim, you name it, she loves them. So one day she gives me a call and she says, Stephen got me something special. What is it? Oh, is it a nice dress? No. Is it a ring, perhaps? No. He got me a cavoodle. So I realized then that Stephen is a very astute young fellow, and he knew exactly what to do. And since then, the relationship obviously gone very, very serious. So there we go. And not only that, you see, Stephen's has got a very positive influence on Stephanie. He stabilizes her. Stephanie can be a little bit loose with her decision-making process, when Stephen can... They're rock. Stephen the Rock. Yes, that's right. Well, going back to Stephen, Stephen is always full of bright ideas, unorthodox quite often, whether it's business, work, investment, schemes, whatever it is, there's always action with this young man. Never stops. And here, guys, I must give credit to Steve's parents. I know his splendid creativity and dedication to his loved ones comes from his home. There's no doubt about it. So, Carol and John, you brought up a really fine young gentleman. Thank you very much. So, Stolat, please raise your glass and say Stolat if you don't understand. Stolat, niech żyje nam. Stolat, niech żyje nam. Jeszcze raz, niech żyje nam. Niech żyje nam.
Well done. Thank you. Thank you very much. Yes. Hey, both dads did so well. Can we give them a big clap? Oh. We hear about the Assyrians and the Poles. It's like a United Nations convention. I love it. I love it. We're going to hear from our maid of honour. We're going to hear from our best man. We're going to hear from this guy. And then we're going to cut a cake. And then we'll have all that behind us. If you're having a good time, say yeah. It's so good. By the way, the venue, food's great, right? Let's give it a big round of applause for the staff here. It's great. Okie dokie. Let's dive in. Maid of honour, she's got a speech prepared. She's got her hands in the air. She's printed it out, New Times Roman, original as. Old school, no devices. She's device free. Okay, I'm going to hand the microphone to our maid of honour. When she touches the mic, that's when you clap. Are you ready? Let's go.
It's like the Olympics. Oh, done. Hi everyone, I'm Mel. So I'm Steph's first true love. So Steve, step aside. To start, let's congratulate the gorgeous, amazing, out of this world, beautiful Steph. And yes, the gorgeous, amazing, beautiful, out of this world Steve. As amazing as this day is so far, there were some stressful times during the planning, which is an absolute testament to their relationship. You've got Steve, the master of invitations. So if anyone needs any hookups to Taobao, you know who to go to. And Steph, the visionary with a theme and everything else. Just kidding, you guys compliment each other so well. All right, let's take a trip down memory lane and celebrate the beautiful Steph. I first met Steph during one of our uni society. It wasn't just a society though. It was where we formed our unique bond. Steph wasn't just a friend. She became like a sister to me. Someone I could share my dreams, my fears, my hopes and wants with. I can't even begin to recall how many late night conversations we've had about everything under the sun. Maybe we've had one just about yesterday, but we won't talk about that. And one specific time where I came to the rescue and I saved you from the rising flood waters of Bexley North. Yep. It was in those moments that I realised that our friendship solidified and we created a bond like no other. I don't want to forget also the many road trips that we've been on, especially when you played the role of passenger princess. Whether it's been dropping you off from Bardia, Burwood, and now on the other side of the bridge. All right, stop using me as an Uber. But seriously, these road trips, they weren't just about the destination. There was a unique form that bonds, where you can spend hours of time in a confined space. You really learn to tolerate each other, but at the same time, you genuinely enjoy every moment. You have a refined ability to turn a simple road trip into a gossip session. Give life lessons, obviously, which is one of the many reasons why I'm so blessed to stand up here today. And personally, having seen Steph grow into the incredible woman she is today, I can attest to the strength of her character and the depth of her heart. Your journey has been nothing short of inspiring, and I know Jason and I definitely are going to take a page out of your book. All of us here are not only witnesses to this union, we're your cheerleaders, your confidants, and your partners in crime. Now, we can't forget about the gorgeous, amazing, beautiful, out of this world Steve. Not only have you won her heart, but both of you have blossomed into the people you see today. The first time I met you, Steve, I was a bit sceptical, as all friends are. I don't know, maybe a bit sceptical is an understatement. But as time has passed, I can see why Steph fell in love with you. You help me see certain situations in a different light, and your forgiving nature shows how big your heart is. Seriously, sometimes I just want to vent and just bitch out. Just let me vent. Oh yeah, also let's not forget his amazing abilities in squash. Yeah, boys? Yeah. Your love for each other has brought the kindness, patience, and unwavering support that we all aspire to have. And I'm so proud that you've found each other to share the beautiful moments in life together. So here's to Steph and Steve. Can everyone bring up their glass? And their incredible love story that you've started embarking on. May your marriage be as joyous and enduring as the friendship that we've created, your first true love. And may the bond you share continue to grow stronger with many mini Steves and Stephs running around. Thank you. Cheers, everyone.
Thanks, Mel.
Thank you.
Wow. I'm sure. Yeah, do that. Do the tap, tap, tap. Go on. Do it. He's really good at smacking it on, isn't he? Next in, at the beginning introduction, I mentioned there was the Callum call assistant. He was answering calls for the groom today. He's got a jawline for a Gillette commercial. It's true. It's true. And now it's his turn to say a few things about today and his contribution. Let's give a huge round of applause to Callum.
So over the past year, it's been amazing watching Steve and Steph day in, day out pour their hearts and souls into making today so special. And the result has been amazing. Steph, you've been so composed, elegant, and organized. And then there's Steve taking the role of the distressed and anxious bride.
That's true.
No, Steve's really impressed me, and it's been inspiring to see him put in so much effort and dedication, which really speaks to his love for Steph. So with that said, a big round of applause for them. I'm Callum, and I have the honor of being Steve's best man today. Steve and I met back in 2003, playing soccer together. I remember one day after a soccer match, little 10-year-old Steve came over to see my parents' new house, which was under construction. They just finished pouring the concrete slab, and Steve hopped out of the car, takes one look at it, and says, "Is this your whole house? My living room's bigger than this." Steve's always been very generous in sharing his opinion, especially when you don't ask for it. So Steve's a big fan of AI and ChatGPT, so I taught it a little bit about Steve and Steph and asked it to write me a poem. So here's the result. Steve and Steph, a work romance. In the halls of Pharma, they took their chance. With glasses perched and moustache styled, his Assyrian roots proud and wild. Steve's got a boat, but does he sail, or is it just a fairy tale? He sells drugs for IBD, it's true, yet spends the longest time in the loo. Hardships and adversity. Steve's faced some, like deciding, is Perisher or Threadbow more fun? Building a house with his dad, what a team. Their bond and craftsmanship, a true dream. John and Carol, the Halloween hosts. Their parties are spookier than most. A place where great couples could meet, like our favorites, Lauren and Pete. In life as in work, Steve's truly adept. With Steph by his side, his heart is well kept. May their journey be joyful and full of zest, with love, laughter, and all the best. So Steph, I want to thank you for being the best thing that ever happened to my best friend. You're such a lovely person, and I couldn't be happier for the two of you. If Steve turns out to be half as good a husband as he has been a friend to me, you two will have an incredible journey together. Now I'd like everyone to stand for a toast. As many of you know, Steve loves starting businesses, and he always names his ventures in the same unique fashion. We've seen that sock guy, that festoon guy, that MG guy. But tonight, let's raise our glasses to the newest title he takes on, that married guy.
Did Callum kill it or did he kill it, yeah? I think maybe like 40% goes to ChatGPT, but the rest of it, the delivery, that was all his, right? Wow. Okay. Now, you might expect that the groom will be next, and you may be true, but guess what? Bride has said to me, Jerry, I'm going to just sneak in a speech of my own. She's violating expectations. And there's the groom going, that's not part of the email conversation we had. No, she's like, honey, hold my drink. Look at that look. He's like, she's got sass. She slid that out. Now, you ready to go? Our bride, and look, she looks gorgeous. That's a given, right? But we're going to give her the chance to speak and all the wonderful things we have to hear from our bride. Let's go.
Surprise! So, Stephen specifically requested a public declaration of love. And I thought, why not instead a public defamation instead? No, I'm kidding. I wanted to surprise you before you go because I know how much you love to have the final say. So I promise not to steal your thunder, Steve. Thank you all for joining tonight. It's absolutely mind-blowing that so many loved ones are here today to celebrate with us. And I just want to start off by saying a few thankses. So I want to start off by saying thank you to my amazing family for their love and support throughout my whole life. Mum, there you are. You are the strongest woman I know. And I love how, despite being a registered nurse pretty much your whole life, you still freak out whenever your child gets hurt. And I know you love to tell me how much of an ugly baby I was, and also how bad my emo phase was. But, you know, I know what unconditional love is because of you. So. So, Dad, Mishu, you've shown me what true commitment and hard work means. I will never forget you picking me up at a slumber party at 4 a.m. to go swim squad training because you said I would and I needed to follow through. So, you are and you always will be my hero. I know you have both sacrificed so much for me, and I may go to Dad for real life advice, but I will always go back to you, Mum, for when I want to be coddled. So to my brothers, I haven't forgotten all of the school pickups, the crab and corn soups, the way none of you would go easy on me at PlayStation, and how you would all trick me into watching horror movies. But you also practically raised me, and you also brought 3 beautiful sisters into my life. To my new family. Thank you. I'm trying to find Carol. There we go. To my new family, thank you so much for accepting me for the oddball that I am. Carol, you are the most efficient, passionate, driven woman I know. And this wedding would have not pulled through without you. I'm so grateful that you have taken me as your own. And John, I aspire to be your level of coolness. Like the calm in the eye of the storm. I can always count on you to keep my glass full and just have an infinite surplus of dad jokes. So look forward to more. Michelle, you have been there for me, always there, whether it was listening to me complain about the many trips that I had to take Steve to the emergency room, or just reassure me that it's all going to be okay, I'm not crazy, and I'm stoked to be your sister. Archer. Thank you for feeding me, for giving me your homegrown vegetables and letting me fall asleep on your carpet in your house. I truly feel at home with you. So. Don't worry, Steve, I'm getting to you. It's all right, I'll get there. So, most of you would know that we both met at work, but it has been mentioned that both of our parents also met at work, which I don't know what that says about us or our lineage as workaholics, but we both essentially project manage, I guess. And Steve, he's actually pretty good at what he does. And I'm not just saying that because his manager's here. But for this wedding...
Promotion!
But for this wedding, you could say, you know, it's a mini project of sorts, just a small project. And I've heard about how grooms kind of just like rock up on the day, enjoy the ride. But no, not Steve. He was there for it, for all of it. He showed up fully, wholly, and he even had his own opinions about our wedding. Like, what?
Horrible.
So I'm usually the perfectionist, and I'm very particular, but, you know, by the end of it, there's a seating chart out there with papers on it, and towards the end, I was, like, slapping the papers on, and Steve was out there. He was measuring them still. And he was, like, measuring them millimetre by millimetre. And he was like, Steph, this is not 13 millimetres apart. Oh. So I want to share with you a memory of going to visit my Jaja in Paul, my grandpa. Now, this man, he is obsessed with accordions. But he hasn't played in many years because he shakes. Now, he doesn't speak a lick of English, and Steve doesn't speak any Polish. But after some coaxing and encouragement, some manipulation, we managed to convince him to play. And then he could not stop. And I know there's only so much the human ears can take of accordion, but I share with you this really unassuming moment because I was just sitting back and watching Steve, and I thought, gosh, that is just so Steve. He loves to pull people out of their shells, whether it's talking to people on the extremely long flight to Europe, or getting to know the person who's updating his car insurance. Steve, I promised I would get to you. So I love you so much. I love you despite you cannot keep a secret to save your life.
None.
I have accepted that I will be second to your number one mistress of your MGB. And I have come to terms with that I will be asked for where your keys and wallet are for the end of our days. So, Steve, you are the reason I fight so incredibly hard to be the best person I can be. You give me a reason to make every single day better than the last, even if you are carrying me to the finish line for most of them. My only wish is that you had the chance to meet my babcha, my grandma, because I know how much she would have loved you and she would have stuffed you with pierogi. I didn't have the privilege of meeting Stephen's barber, so his grandpa. But I hear you are just like him. You love to bring people together. You are a true host, sometimes a mother hen, and you always want people to enjoy themselves. So I ask family and friends, you can raise your glass. So as we share these precious moments together, let's make this night unforgettable.
That was amazing. That was amazing.
So, do you think she did all right? That was amazing. You know, having the right words to say is one thing, but saying them in the right way is another, right? And I think that it's obvious that there's a lot of good talkers in the family. That's what I'm noticing, right? Incredible. So now the final is like, oh, geez, how am I going to match that? Well, too bad. Too bad. Our final speaker of today before we cut this cake.
Alrighty. How am I supposed to follow up on that? Holy moly, huh? Man, I'm a crybaby. That's what I'm going to say right now. Well, okay. Well, thank you, everyone. And honey, we're here. And I love you. Oh my God, I'm going to cry immediately. Now, before you guys get all excited, this is a 15-minute speech, so good luck, by the way, guys. Honey, I love you so freaking much. And I think both of us can really, firstly, thank everyone being here tonight, because we all love you so much, and I'm so grateful for your attendance and your well wishes and your welcoming to both of Steph and I for our marriage. So a huge applause to all of you tonight. Thank you. I would, of course, also like to thank the bridal party. They've done a lot to help out with our wedding tonight. And, of course, thank you, Callum, for the ChatGPT speech. It's always a blessing. And, of course, Mel, thank you for being such a close friend to Steph and supporting her in this journey as well. So what I might start off with is, of course, just starting to thank a few people for being here tonight. And the first person I want to thank is, of course, my mother. Mom, you and I are literally the same person, and it is scary. Because when we are in the room together, I'm telling you, everyone flees when we're in the same room together, because I've never seen you have less than 2,000% passion for what you do. And I want to thank you for being the caring mother that you are, because I know that the way you show me love is by doing everything in your heart. And I always really appreciate. I'm going to cry the whole time. I promise you, last crying, no more. I want to thank you, Mum, for being you, and I love you so much. To Dad, thank you for taking a rogue speech and just went straight off with it, talking about Assyrians, because I'm sure you're very much welcomed in the Assyrian community by now, right? Let's call out John. He's a true Assyrian, right? Dad, of course, you're a very calm person, and a huge balance between Mum and I. And I know that hopefully, I'm not going to lie, a lot of the times I think in situations when I'm talking to Mum, I'm like, what would Dad do at this point? And never take that advice ever, unfortunately. But hopefully when I do become a future father, I can take the patience, the calm, and the welcomeness that you provide. But I'm not going to lie, it's probably going to be Steph. I'll be a very tough dad. But thank you very much for inspiring me regardless. Of course, the next is my sister, Michelle. It's a very simple one. Thank you for tolerating me for 30 years. And I think that's probably why you've been so welcoming to Steph, because you've realized you could push off that problem onto her. So, of course, I want to thank you for all that you've done there as well. Now, to my new family, of course, the Wazilaks, unbelievable. I'm so welcomed, and thank you so much for being such a hospitable family and welcoming me to your family as well. Marie, of course, I've always appreciated that you brought 4 sons in this world, but I'm always grateful that when we play Scrabble, you and I, we team up and we cheat, because we are a team of winners and we'll always win every time. So I always really appreciate that. And of course, Ben, I would say Ben was probably the most welcoming of all the family members to the Wazilak family, because I remember the first time we met, the whole family had come over for dinner, and everyone was loud and chatting and stuff like that. And I saw Ben looking at me across the room, thinking, I don't know about this guy. He then interrupts the entire party to yell out, "Have you been to Cabramatta?" I sat there puzzled because I wasn't sure why that makes a difference. But when you're being welcomed in a family, of course, you say, "Of course I have, of course." And the gleam in his eye was unbelievable. He loved me immediately. Now the truth. I had not been to Cabramatta. But I would say, though, Steph next week took me to Cabramatta and I made my promise. So hopefully that still sticks me around, all right? Which is good. All right, now for the crying. Once again, I can't help it. To my beautiful, amazing wife, Stephanie. I love you so much. And I'll keep going because I'm about to cry again. I'm so blessed to be loved by you, and it's something that's really shaped and changed my life for the better. We've been through an amazing journey over 4 years, and I look forward to creating the life together that we've always dreamed. But of course, I want to go down memory lane, and I want to focus on the first time I heard about Steph. The first day I remembered Steph was actually an email popped up, and it said that I was to be a buddy, a mentor to a new graduate called Stephanie Ann Vasilak, right? And I started pondering, I was like, who is this beautiful European blonde, blue-eyed girl that's going to be joining Janssen, of course, right? Stephanie Vasilak. Of course, I was also very excited that there was finally one other young person at Janssen, because it was all old people by that point. And of course, secondly, is I was a bit scared, because of course I'm a very competitive person. I thought, is this girl going to take away the limelight from me? So, you know, at least, yeah. But regardless, of course, I went onto Facebook, did some stalking, and it was a little bit different. So we first planned to meet at a cafe near work a few days later. Arriving early, my phone buzzed, and I looked down, and I saw it was a text message from Steph. It was a digital touch message, and for those that know what they're like, there are a lot of images and things like that. And what the text read was a whole lot of love hearts, a lot of kisses, a lot of fireworks as the first text she sent me. And I thought, man, this chick's a bit spicy, I like it. It's not bad. Sure, it was a bit strange, but of course, I'm hip, I'm cool. So I started typing that saucy message back, of course, right? But of course, the professional and moderated Steve left on red, because, you know, I'm not going to be that kind of person. Of course, after Steph did arrive, and I reassured her she was not going to get fired, she went then on, and the rest of the meeting was quite pleasant, where she then went to try and impress me with her ample amount of sales experience she had achieved relevant to the pharmaceutical industry, selling leggings at Lorna Jane for 6 months. And I really was quite impressed, and hope that that sales experience still pulls into today's job. So I quickly realized that Steph was quite unique. She was one of a kind. Actually, you know, she was a complete weirdo, and I adored it. I loved it. And I remember the first time we actually went on the road together, because of course part of our job we would go and meet customers. And the first block we turned around the corner, she saw her friend Martina outside the window. She immediately put down a window, and with this like deep urge, she became Donnie from the Wild Thornberrys, if you know what that is, and put out her head and was like, "Woo!" And I thought, man, this chick, I like her. She's pretty cool. I was completely infatuated by that weirdo, and I love it. But of course, that's because I am also a complete weirdo, right? So, and I would more relate that to a complete obsession that I have with Steph, because within the first 2 weeks of dating, this is quite embarrassing, I knew I loved her. And the way that I didn't want to scare her off was by every time we would hug, I'd draw with my finger on the back of her, on her back, "I love her." And I remember always thinking, I wonder if she would ever think or realize that I was writing "I love you" on her back. But most often than not, actually every single time, she said, "Can you please stop touching me? You're a bit of a weirdo." So it took me a little bit of a while to get the courage to finally say it to her. So our relationship, of course, has been, I'm trying to summarize it, but working together, I've picked up a bit of a knack for presentation. So what I thought I might do, just for 5 minutes, is present to you some key metrics, KPIs, and results from our relationship over the 4 years to represent what our relationship has become. So if I might ask the boys to help out with our presentation tonight. All right. Thank you for sticking with me here. So the first presentation I would like to share with you is the first graph is a representation of Stephanie. You can raise it up now. Yeah, beautiful, beautiful stuff. And what this represents is, honey, your beautiful laughter. Because throughout our relationship, oh my God, do I love your laughter. It is something that's underpinned by hours of fun that we've had together, and motivates me to be a better and better person for you. It brightens me every day to hear it, and ultimately, it's something that drives me to love you more. And to make things better, a week ago, I realized when Steph laughs, her nostrils vibrate like this. I don't know what it is. It's like she's trying to take off like a plane, which makes it a lot better. So next time you hear her laugh, focus on her nose. It's always a good option. All right. Next presentation. Boys, find the next slide, please. And what this next slide represents is... It's original. The next graph I'd like to share represents my friend's respect for me since I've started dating Steph. Because I know you guys all hated me before, but with Steph, we brought it up. And I actually remember, Bravin, the first time you met Steph, you came straight up to me like this, and you said to me, I like you more with Steph. And then paused and just said, actually, I just like Steph more than you. And then walked away, and I'm pretty sure I've never talked to the guy ever again since. All right, next graph. So this graph represents, shake it up, move it around, pretend it's a new graph. That one, there we go, okay. And this graph represents the respect amongst Steph's friends against me since we started dating. I don't know what's happening there, but again, a very interesting trend to our relationship. All right, next graph.
Hang on, look, find it first.
Thank you. Now, if you know Steph well, you know that when the pressure hits, her armpits get super sweaty, right? We gotta be very careful with that. And one of the favorite things she gets to do is when she's under stress, she goes like this. She's waving, she's trying to cool down her underarms. And it was actually, it was something that I've always slightly liked. Because it reminds me of the time that I actually held her hand for the first time. We're walking, and I was like, you know what? Grabbed her hand, she stopped. She squealed, but her hand became a wet fish, and it was a defining moment in our relationship. Completely lovely as well. All right, next one. We're going to move them quick. You got it? You worked it out? All right. The next graph represents the number of plants that Steph has bought of our relationship. And this should be exponential because she doesn't stop. She is obsessed with buying plants, and I love it because ultimately it's something that brings her joy. And the one thing that you will actually bring yourself joy is going shopping with her because she's holding those plants like a newborn baby, skipping around, always really happy to buy plants. But on the flip side, represents, it's a very hard one to find, represents the number of plants that Steph has killed, because honestly, no matter how many times she buys a plant, she's gonna kill it immediately. And I'm pretty sure it's an incentive just to buy some more. All right, we've got 3 more left. Working very closely with you, Steph, another metric that I've looked deeply into is the sales at Johnson & Johnson Pharmaceuticals. And I have a true belief that there's a correlation versus causation, that we as a relationship have increased sales at Johnson & Johnson. You're welcome, Joaquin, CEO of Johnson & Johnson. Now, on the side is, now for the individuals at work, I would actually like you to close your ears right now, because I'd like to put because the next graph represents work productivity. And at the end of the day, I know this is all about me, I've literally become horrible, but always another representation that is a good relationship to look at. Now, speaking of competition, our relationship has seen some fierce competition, of which is actually perfectly described in the first week, and Ben actually brought up before. Because in the first week, I walked past a pet store, and I thought I might just walk in, check it out. And Steph asked me, hold on, what are you doing in this pet store? You're not going to buy a dog, what are you doing? And I took it as a test, because you know that when they say that, you know it's a test in a competition, and I immediately saw the first dog and bought that dog for Steph, right? And that, I don't know, that's the competition graph, sure, why not? So it's a true winner mentality, I would say, I take into this relationship. And for those that are worried about the dog, please rest assured that it does live with my mum and dad now. Very well loved, of course, as well. Now, the last graph, okay, is I wanted to plot my absolute love and obsession for you, Steph. Because over the many, many years, have I not only fallen more deeply in love with you, but truly, completely obsessed with every part about you. And I ask you to come down here.
Come on, Steph.
Hands together, guys.
Yes.
I can't remember the speech.
Oh, would you like me to?
It's okay.
Yeah.
Sure. Thank you. Okay, man, chill out.
It's okay.
Stephanie, I'm so proud to be your husband. Your pure heart brings me joy every single day, and it motivates me to be a better person. I'm constantly grateful to God to have met you. And ultimately, as I watch you grow every day with your cool Berlin dance moves that you have, your considerate and caring nature towards others, and your considerate approach to life that's slightly a bit crazy, it gives me the motivation to love you more and more every day. I may be the chaos in your life, but at the same time, I want to be your rock. I will always defend you and champion for you because I'm your biggest cheerleader. And because, God damn it, you're worth it. There's 3 promises I'll provide you in this relationship. Love, patience, and a dedication to make a better a better person myself every day to love you harder. I love you. All right, now lastly, everyone has a shot on their table that if you haven't taken one, I would like you to get your champagne glass, get a full hard liquor. I see it, James, you gotta get over there. Raise it up when you got it ready. I want hard liquor only, there we go. Glasses up. To my beautiful wife, cheers.
Smashed it. Thank you. Stand when those finished and then stand next to the cake table now. Well,